Live from the Spill Studios located behind a liquor store on the I-35 interchange, it's time once again for a couple of cold ones with Corey and Carlisle and Leon.
Leon, how you doing, man? Back.
Yeah, you guys enticed me to come back. And we had all the people from the Spill Pub Crawl who said, Leon, you got to come back on the show. And I was like, Sadate.
Yeah, man, we might have to make you a permanent establishment here, because we waited on your ass from yesterday. Which
I appreciate.
Which is a good thing because apparently between me talking to you and saying, hey, we're going to start recording, and you saying, just wait on me, and then now, which is almost like over 24 hours later, a lot of crazy shit has happened to both me and Carlisle, man. I mean, yesterday I was trying to get a hold of you guys at a reasonable time, but it got crazy for me, but then you told me about what Carlisle had to go through, and I was just kind of like, shit, that ain't nothing compared to what happened to him. And I told you, man, it all involves those fucking kids that run through your yard, man. I told you those kids are gonna be trouble one day.
Well, you know what? I mean, Carlisle, he lives on a corner, and when you have a corner lot, that's your lot in life that people are gonna cut through your yard. It's just the way it goes.
The first day I helped you move some stuff over. The first day, school let out, and all these fucking little ghetto-looking kids just run through his yard. Ah! I was just kind of like, man, please watch your shit, okay? Build a fence.
We used to be those kids, so we know what they're up to.
Yeah, I used to tear up shit when I was a kid. I know what I'm talking about. But is everything all right, man?
What was that?
Is everything all right?
Well, it is now, but it was not for a couple of hours there.
Well, please regale the audience with the tale of what happened.
Well, I mean, it started how how it always starts over here, where it's, I hear kids, making a lot of noise outside my window, literally outside my window. I walk outside to chase them out of the yard, because usually when I hear them outside, it's when a couple of them decided to get into a fight and they're fighting in my yard, and usually you just step out and you shoo them off and do the get off of my lawn.
You damn kids.
Hey, you can take it somewhere else, please.
These kids are 12 and 13 years old, and some crotchety old guy walks out and goes, get off of my lawn. And you're like, oh crap, let's go. We don't want to get in trouble. Well, this time I walk out and there's this kid pulling bulbs out of my Christmas lights.
See, why? It's like, because it's just ignorant, stupid shit. Because I myself the kid's obviously not very smart, because in order to cause damage to bulbs, I just would have threw rocks at him. But he went up there and took the time to screw them out and all that kind of shit. So
yeah,
he was just standing there fiddling with them, pulling them out, and I walk over and I'm like, dude. And he literally kind of throws it away like, you didn't see nothing, and starts trying to walk off. And I'm like, dude, what the fuck? And he looks at me and he says, you know what? Fuck you, and gives me the finger. And you know what? Instinctively, I give him the finger back. And then he's not the kid. He's not, but no, because he's not the kid. This isn't the kid I'm talking about. Because what happens is he gives me the finger and he's walking away because he doesn't, he wants to look cool in front of all the kids, but he doesn't want to get in trouble. But sure enough, there's this kid walking right by me that go, look at this fucking cracker, thinking he can give the middle finger. And I'm like, excuse me? And he's like, you fucking heard me. And I said, yeah, I fucking did. Fuck off. Get out of my yard.
Well, I'm glad to hear that the kids were white, because I was so scared there's going to be some black kids who did this.
White kids don't go to this school.
I know. I'm sitting up here making a fucking joke. Yeah. So,
Carlisle couldn't afford a house in a white school neighborhood. Come on.
So this kid starts, just talking shit to me, and so I throw it back at him, and I start walking back inside because it's just like, holy crap, this is ludicrous. This is 13
it's just the point you go like, this is stupid. What am I doing?
Yeah. So I go back inside, and I hear all this yelling outside, and so I go back outside, and it's the kids across the street yelling to get my attention. And so here's this kid who had called me the fucking cracker. And he's walking across the street, and he's just talking trash, and I'm like, why are you flapping your gums? Go home. Go the fuck home. Get out. Go. Get the fuck out of here. And so he's talking shit, trying to look cool in front of all of his friends, because look at me, I'm the tough guy. I'm talking to the old guy. And so he's talking trash, and then he offends me. And he offends me by dropping the lamest collection of supposedly dirty words together that sounded something like his mouth was full of marbles and he was saying, "Oh yeah, well what you gonna do? Because last night I had my mouth on your mama's pussy." And I'm like, really? That's what you've got? And his face, his jaw drops like, I just said the most offensive thing in the world and you are unimpressed, and his friends start kind of laughing, and I'm like, really? You're going to stand here and you're going to say shit like that to me? He goes, you stepping? I'm like, excuse me? He's like, do you want to fight? I'm like, no, I don't want to fight a 13-year-old boy. And so he throws a rock at me.
Oh,
I'm like,
you didn't tell me that part, Leon.
No, I didn't know this
because
part.
he hasn't heard this part. And I say, you're kidding me. A 13-year-old boy, the middle school kid, just threw a rock at me. Really? Get the fuck out of here. And so that's where you like rocks? You like rocks? He walks into my yard and picks up this big portion of a cinder block. It's like, one of those it's like a cinder block that's been broken off to use as a flagstone. Yeah. And he walks over to my scooter and hangs it over my scooter, and I'm like, you better not do that. And he drops it right on the windshield. Now, fortunately, what I thought, my windshield it's a plastic windshield, and it bounced the rock off. I didn't know what damage it did, but he takes off running. So, of course, I'm pissed, and I take off running after him. And he's laughing. I'm in my socks, and I'm chasing after him. I'm literally right on his ass in my socks, chasing this kid at a full run, and he stops, he jukes, he goes back, I'm running, I'm right after him, and he's like, I'm getting away, what you gonna do? And from out of nowhere comes a hobo who tackles this kid to the ground. Ah! He's got him on the ground now, and I'm like, whoa, what was that? And he's like, is this the kid you were after? And I'm like, yeah, here he is.
This was my dinner for the night, if you don't want to.
So, of course, he's
I remember what happened to that Peter Parker kid. I had to stop him.
So sure enough, he gets tackled in my neighbor's yard. So the kid gets up and tries to go again, and I grab him, and I've got him, in a bear hug now. And
shit, man.
I've got him in a bear hug from behind, just fully grappled him.
I gotta say, I'm worried about you at this point because I'm seeing charges pressed against you.
No. Trust me on this.
Okay.
Plus, he had a hobo as his witness, and he gave the hobo $1 to shut up. So
my neighbors are there, and they're like, "What do you want us to do?" I'm like, "Call the cops." And they're like, "All right." So they call the cops, and so within 4 or 5 minutes, the cops are there, and a police officer rolls up.
It must be awesome to be white, because when I call the cops, sometimes they don't show up at all.
There's usually a few cops in the neighborhood because of this school.
Okay.
At time to get off, they have several cops who are kind of in the area just in case there's any problems.
Wow. Okay.
And so they were, once they got the call, they're like, okay, this is what we're here for. And so the cop comes up, and while he's doing that, now here's the beauty of it, is he's trying to wriggle out and he can't, because he is a 13-year-old boy.
Yeah.
And I've got him in a complete bear hug. He can't get out, and so he's like talking to his friends. He's like, come on, guys. Who's going to help me? What, you guys too scared of this white boy? You're not. And they're all sitting there going, man, we don't want any of this. Come on, man. And some of them are kind of talking trash to me, and I look dirty at them, and they shut the fuck up. And because they're like, shit. But so the cop shows up, and this is where it just gets really ridiculous. It gets absolutely ridiculous, because the cop walks up and she goes, okay, what's the problem? And I let him go so that he can, that the cop can now take over. And the kid goes to run, and the cop grabs him, and he then spends the next 5 minutes resisting arrest. Damn. He takes a swing at the cop. He's wriggling out. By the end of it, his friends are like, look, man, just lie on the ground and let her put the cuffs on you. You're just making it worse. And all of his friends are standing around watching him just humiliate himself as he flails around, and this cop is trying to put the cuffs on without hurting him. I mean, it passed the point where she should have, kicked out the back of his knees and put his face into the dirt, but she was being entirely professional about the whole thing. And towards the end of that is when a couple of the administrators from the school are driving by. They see what's going on. They pull up, and they're like, "Oh, it's you." And they know this
Of
kid.
course.
And they're like, and they tell
Babyface Finster once again.
they tell the cop, the cop says, "Do you know this kid?" And they're like, "Yeah, we know him. He's trouble." And so they're trying to talk sense to him, saying, "Look, just let her put the cuffs on you and let this be over with." And so sure enough, they finally get the cuffs on him. They put him in the back of the car, and he's the cops come up to me and they ask the story. We go through everything, and they go and talk to him, and they're like, "Do you want to press charges?" And I'm just like, this kid, he's a total pain in the ass, but you listening to this kid and looking at this kid, he's that one kid that you look at and you just know that this kid is either going to be in and out of prison for the rest of his life, or he's getting shot or stabbed. Like, that is his future. That unless Morgan Freeman comes out of the woodwork and gives him a magical lecture, this kid is doomed. And so it's one of those things where it's like, I can send him to juvie, but you know what? That was the fun part I forgot to mention. While I'm holding him, he's telling his buddy to call his homies to come and shoot this white bitch. And
wait, was he referring to you or the lady cop?
No, he was referring to me because the cop hadn't showed up yet.
Okay.
So on top of that, he adds terroristic threats to everything else he's done, from trespassing, from vandalism, assault. Like, he's done everything. He's going to spend the next few years in juvie if I press charges. And I was like, what's going to happen if I don't press charges? And the cop said, well, we probably have to let him go if you're not going to press charges, but let's see. And so they literally pull out the book and they start going through the book to look up what this kid has done. And they said, no, we're going to take him to we can actually book him for resisting arrest. So if we're called out on any of these things and he resists arrest, then yeah, he's going down for resisting arrest. So he ends up going to jail just for resisting arrest because I decided I wasn't going to press charges against him. And so I get back inside. I'm totally pissed off. The adrenaline starts wearing off, and I realize this kid's fucked up my knee, like really bad.
Yeah.
And because he couldn't break out of the bear hold, so he's kicking back and he's kicking me in the leg, and I've got so much adrenaline going that I'm not even feeling it. I'm like, all right, fine, kick me in the leg, and then I get inside. I'm like, oh shit, I'm old. Wow, that adrenaline was awesome stuff. So yeah, that was my 3:30 in the afternoon.
Oh man, kids, they grow up so fast, don't they? Man, that is a crazy story. Look, you're a better man than I am because I'm looking at this kid and I'm listening to you talk about this kid and I'm thinking, this kid's on his way to like rob a liquor store or something right now.
Yeah.
I mean, this kid's probably on his way to rape somebody, or mug someone, stab somebody in the ass. I'm thinking you saved a life that day. Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, as long as he goes down. I mean, maybe if Carlisle were to press charges, he might get raped in juvie, and it might be that magical penis that makes him go like, wait a minute, I need to turn my whole life around. You know what? Like he's in his cell and he goes like, what did I do to get here? Let's retrace the steps. Oh my God, I've been living wrong.
Wow, that was just one dumbass move after another. I think I've learned a good lesson. Yeah, sorry to hear that, man.
It's the lesson stick again. I learned last time.
And I really do hope you gave that bum $1, man.
Yeah, for real.
So yeah, man, that's. He told me about this.
The guy got up and he left, and I never saw him again.
He just.
It was Hancock. He flew off.
I would be surprised, if I found out that was Hancock. Man, it was so from out of ice. I didn't even see that guy coming. He just came from out of nowhere and took that kid down.
Yeah, Carlisle starts telling people that story, and they're like, yeah, that bum in that alley right there, man, he just jumped out and grabbed the kid. And they're like, wait a minute, what did that bum look like? What was his name? Wait a minute, that guy died like 10 years ago.
Oh, hey, maybe it was maybe it was Ricky Williams, like some old football player. He just kind of disappeared off the grid.
The thing that really messed with me is after the fact, I was